In this video, you'll be seeing some crucial facts and insights about the petrol vehicles and the electric vehicles. I've covered several questions that you wanted to ask, and I've also covered several questions that you haven't thought about. If you haven't watched the first part of this series, I've given the link I button. When I'm on a drive, what if the vehicle suddenly stops and doesn't move? I don't know what to do, and I have no clue what has happened to the vehicle. If the same thing happens to my petrol vehicle, I have an idea of what to check and also take it to any two-wheeler mechanic who would be available in almost every street in the city. Within a matter of minutes, I can wait there and I can get it fixed and drive back the vehicle. This is something that is very important and perhaps the most important thing that you have to address. In case of the electric vehicle, what is the situation?
Yes. So, talking about the small repairs and services, the vehicle has a structure, a body, wheels, we're talking about brakes, the other parts that involve mechanical and fittings. Whenever there is the repair in the wheels or in the brakes, cables, levers or the handlebar, all this is going to be done by any two-wheeler mechanic, right? So, you have a fault in these parts, you're going to go to any two-wheeler mechanic and he's going to fix it. So we don't have to worry about that. And just tell me, you go to a mechanic when there is a fault in carburetor, when there is a fault in the vehicle gear or clutch, when there is a fault with the spark plug. These parts are actually not there in the electric vehicle. They just don't exist. So where do you get the fault from? Where you actually get the problem doesn't exist in the electric vehicle. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't get a fault at all on those. When you face a fault in the electronic parts, in the motor, the controller or any electronics, that is something that is for sure this cannot be handled by a normal mechanic. And I agree that for now, at this point in time, the mechanics are yet to be upgraded to solve these or attend these faults. So you actually have warranty for that. So the company is ready to come to the site, to the place where the vehicle is stuck, and then they're ready to fix it up. So why do you have to worry about that? That's it.
So we have to believe that there are no problem parts in the vehicle, and someday if at all there is a problem, then you say the company would come and support us. Alright. A lot of us didn't know this. I didn't know that there would be a service support for electric vehicles like this. Like they come to wherever the vehicle is stuck and then they fix it up for us. It's good. The only thing is that when there's a fault in the electronics, not all mechanics can fix it. Alright, brother. So now my question is, I'm a guy who doesn't go much of a longer rides. I drive in the city, so for me, maybe the range of the electric vehicle might be fine for the rides within the city. And what about my friends who go for longer rides? Is it like the electric vehicles are not meant for long rides? If I'm a guy who goes for long rides, then is the electric vehicle for me? Does it suit me or not? Should I buy it or not? If you say it's also for long rides, then tell me the possibilities. How does it work?
I agree that there is a setback when compared to petrol vehicles in terms of long drives. And then I want to tell you something. You need to check the vlogging videos of electric vehicle enthusiasts who have done long rides and who are doing long rides. They do it just like any petrol vehicle. How long can you ride a vehicle? Maybe 8 hours, 10 hours continuous? Right. So after that you need to take a break, right? Or in between you might take a break of an hour or two, right? So it's not that you can't do longer rides in electric vehicles. You just have to plan the route. You just have to see where the charging points are, or you just have to make sure that you can charge your vehicle on the go. That's about it. If you plan it, you can take the vehicle for long rides. And in the next 5 years, there are a lot of charging infrastructure works going on which will be available for us to charge on the go. It's very convenient for us to go long rides. It's not impossible to go long rides even in electric vehicles.
So talking about the climatic conditions, so we have different variations here in India. Sometimes there will be sudden rain, there will be a thunderstorm, there will be a lot of floods. We also face a really hot summer. We have the experience of rainwater stagnation Even when the road is covered with water, we just drive our petrol vehicles in the water. We have the experience of higher water levels in times of extreme floods and some disasters. And when I have an electric vehicle in this condition, what happens to the vehicle? How do I manage it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like to remind everyone that the vehicles that come into the market are actually approved. These vehicles come with the IP rating for splash proof, so they withstand rain, they withstand water pressures to a level. The manufacturer will actually advise you the best practices for that. And also, yes, these vehicles are not equivalent to a petrol vehicle when it comes to floods and natural calamities. So we need to be a little safer, we need to be a little more careful when it comes to electric vehicles. If you say that, think about Tesla. How is Tesla managing it? Tesla is one of the safest cars in the world. It's having one of the biggest battery pack. Now we're talking about the electric two-wheelers, which has a much smaller battery pack and which is also detachable in many of the cases. It's always best to remove the battery pack, and also the company will suggest what to do in times of calamities. And also I'd like to add on this that since we have the high density battery pack in the vehicle, we need to be careful when there is a lot of heat generated in the environment. It is always safe to park the vehicle and keep the vehicle in a cooler place, like shady places and not with a lot of heat around. It's just a matter of being more safer.
Yeah, that's true that it's a rare occurrence. It's not an everyday thing. But in times of such situations, we need to know what to do at that time. We have to be ready. And that's the reason I asked the question. Now I know what to do. During the calamities, it's always best to remove the batteries. Yeah, so you wanted to say about the regenerative braking.
Yes.
Even I'm curious to know about it, so go on.
Yes, I wanted to talk about regen. It's a very special thing and a unique thing for electric vehicles. The reason being, you don't have a regenerative braking in any of the petrol vehicles that I see in India. Why is it important? So, first benefit is being that the resources are going to remain healthy for a long period of time. The second thing is that we're not going to generate extra heat to the environment. And the third most important thing is that through regenerative braking, we are actually taking the benefit of the resistance, putting back power to the battery, which is awesome. It could be very less, like maybe 1% or 2%. It still makes a difference of 2 kilometers or maybe 4 kilometers, which is a major thing. But that is not the primary thing that we use the regenerative braking for. We use regenerative braking for the vehicle efficiency and the best use of resources. So I think regenerative braking is something wonderful.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's so unique in electric vehicles.
Yes,
The
right.
next question is, in the petrol vehicles, even when we overload the vehicle, we don't see much of a difference in the mileage and the performance. It's very unnoticeable. So how different is it when it comes to electric vehicles?
Yeah, that is true. This is something that there is a difference in petrol vehicle and an electric vehicle. I need to accept the fact that there is a performance difference compared to a petrol vehicle. The efficiency of a petrol vehicle is about 25% or 23 to 28%, whereas in the electric vehicles it's 80 to 90% efficient. In the petrol vehicle, it's going to be very minimal or almost unnoticeable when there is an overload. But whereas in an electric vehicle, when you overload the vehicle, when you uphill the vehicle, there is going to be a difference. Though there is a slight difference in terms of feel while driving, though the vehicle performance is not much affected, there will be a difference in the range. The vehicle is consuming a lot of energy in order to accomplish the task. That is the main difference.
Can I water wash the electric vehicles or not?
Yes, we can water wash the vehicle because the vehicle is ARAI approved, IP rated. We won't get these vehicles to the market when we can't water wash the vehicle. So when you purchase the vehicle, the manufacturer would actually tell you. But in my experience, in my 10 years, more than 10 years experience, I just put off the MCB in the electric vehicle and then water wash it as usual. And then once the water is all dried, then I again put on the MCB and it's good to go. First thing, you put off the MCB, then you're safe. And then the second thing, if you feel the water pressure is very high, then you instruct the the water wash people to not use the pressure wash gun in the areas of electronics and battery. So that's it. So we can do it as usual with a little bit of precaution.
Okay, we can water wash by putting off the MCB switch. That is pretty simple. In the petrol vehicle, we have clear indication of the fuel tank. It's very accurate and reliable. In my petrol vehicle, I can tell exactly how many kilometers I can go with the available fuel. I've heard that some electric vehicles are not reliable at all when it comes to the battery capacity. This is important because the vehicle stops because of battery discharge. Then we need to find a charging point. We need to have the charger with us and we need to wait for the charge. Is it true? And what are your thoughts on this?
In the petrol vehicles, it's a clear indication about the fuel and the remaining fuel capacity. When we come to electric vehicles, we are not talking about the slow-speed lead-acid batteries, which were so problematic in terms of battery percentage. Even I have faced these issues in my past. It shows like it's still 50%. We think we still have 30 kilometers or 25 kilometers more to go. Within a 5 to 6 kilometers, it'll suddenly drop to 1 point or it'll suddenly drop to 5%. We are not talking about these vehicles. We're talking about Ather, we're talking about Revolt, and I'm sure Ather is doing very good display meter and predicting the remaining kilometers, and it also can assess the driving behavior and also suggest the kilometers, the remaining kilometers and all that, which is awesome, which is wonderful. So today we don't have to worry about that. I'm sure about Ather, we can trust kilometers that are shown in the display and go with it. And I'm also sure about Revolt. Revolt has a very good instrument console, the remaining kilometers and the remaining battery displays we can trust on. And in terms of pure EV, I'm not very sure about their display and their battery level indication. So before they were using voltage based displays for the battery level, which is not reliable. Today the technology is different. They are energy based meters. They count the energy that has been consumed and then they have the math of showing the mining capacity. So these are reliable. And I've seen that the Pure EV is doing a lot of research on their battery indicators as well. So I'm sure very soon Pure EV will also come up with some awesome energy meters and displays.
Alright, so we can rely on these brands, so that's fair enough. And this is the most important and the whole point of electric vehicles, the ride economy. For someone like me, it's even more crucial. I agree that it's getting so tough here. The fuel prices are so high that it's going beyond the budget. It's getting tough to manage with the fuel prices. Is it really possible and practical to be economical with an electric vehicle? Can I really save the petrol cost of 500 rupees per week? I spend about 2 rupees per kilometer, sometimes more than 2 rupees, depending on the roads and the vehicle condition. That's amazing. That would be useful for a lot of people. Can you show that in the video? Is it available now? If you have a device like that would change the whole view of the electric vehicle. If you have any questions or feedback, leave it in the comments. Give me a like if you liked something in the video. See you soon.